All right, 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Nice looking Thursday. Hope you're doing well. The music means it's time for Climate Control Mechanical Services. Brandon Wood flying solo today hosting the show. This is the show that was created so that you will better understand what these guys do to make sure that it's comfortable within our homes and our offices. And I've mentioned this before, that there is so much more to the skills that an air conditioning professional has. And I know there's a four-letter title to what you guys do. HVAC. HVAC. There's so much more to it than just figuring out how to cool down the air. It cleans the air, it filters the air, and it's almost like saying the same thing, but not really, because it also takes the germs out of the air. So if you have a question about your system, about your thermostat, about anything, whether it's new technology or old, Freon comes up a lot. Brandon Wood is here to answer your questions. He is, of course, with Climate Control Mechanical Services, and the phone number here to ask Brandon a question is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, 622-9622. It's a long intro, I know. Good morning, Brandon. How you doing?
How you doing?
Good. Yeah, did you have a good Memorial Day weekend?
I did. I worked. Memorial Day was pretty slow, but I was on call all weekend, and I put in some hours Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, so you didn't get to go to
hot.
A park or to a beach or anything like that?
Not really, no. I can still do things in town, but going out of town is pretty much out of the question, unless I call another guy and have him back up for me or something like that. But on call is definitely a necessary evil of this occupation. Yeah,
and we're grateful for it, because when that air, and there's a real serious health purpose there too. I mean, how many clients do you have? I don't know if you know the number, but I mean, there's got to be some that literally would have very, very serious consequences if the air conditioner broke down.
We do. I have one particular elderly woman. She's got COPD, and she goes into a frantic when her AC breaks down. And it's very important. She is a service agreement customer, so she never gets charged overtime. So if it does break down, she calls immediately, and someone will be out there to fix it.
Wow.
But we have a lot of customers like that. We have customers that fear for their pets even. Dogs that can't get too hot. Well,
that would be me.
Yeah.
I'm one of them, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm worried about myself more than anything. I don't like being hot either.
Well, that's true, too. And you know what it is for me? You have told us in the course of doing this show that I can now, with today's technology, sit here and know what the temperature is at my house.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of cool.
Oh, yeah. With smartphones and smart thermostats and internet and all the different apps you can get, we can get thermostats that are very easy to install and very user-friendly. Basically, if you already have a smartphone or a tablet, or you just know how to use a computer, you can basically see any amount of thermostats located anywhere in the world and control them at the same time, too. It's actually pretty neat where the industry is heading.
Can we talk a little bit about the effect of a leak in the house itself? The reason the question comes to mind is because I went home yesterday and discovered that my freezer had not been totally closed. It was just a tiny bit open. Somehow that happened. I don't know how it happened. And everything was melted in the freezer. And the poor thing was running and running and running and running. I thought, oh my goodness, hope it didn't break it. Fortunately, I closed it and everything works again. But I mean, I'm guessing in a house where you're trying to keep it cool, it's got to be like that. If somebody leaves the window slightly open, or if there's maybe something that's not quite sealed right, is there a figure that, I mean, how much money do we spend extra if it's not airtight?
I don't know about a figure, but definitely older homes, proper insulation and proper windows is a big factor. The older homes, even like the historic homes in downtown, the really old homes, where the insulation's not so great, the windows aren't so great, we get a lot less efficiency out of the systems. Newer homes where they have the new spray-in insulation, which I highly recommend. I actually work with a company, bio-based, that will come out and spray foam your attic, or I've had them do underneath houses where there's a crawl space, and usually have really good success with efficiency. But newer homes built today are built to be more efficient.
Pretty good,
yeah. Some of them are sealed airtight to the point where you actually have to bring in fresh air.
So we don't know a figure. Oh, really?
Yeah, it's so airtight that you just constantly multiply that carbon monoxide you're breathing out, and you actually have to bring in fresh air.
Yeah. There's no figure, obviously, but if there...
If there is, I don't know about it, nor do I use it much.
But I'm guessing that the person who has done that, who has changed, who has taken the leaks and fixed them, they could be little. They could be things under the door. It could be,
oh, absolutely.
Right?
I had a customer out by the lake. She had one of those, you can buy them, they were like as seen on TV type of items. It just strapped to the bottom of her door threshold, and it was like a pillow that sealed from the bottom of the door to the floor. And so when the door was closed, there was no air gap, so no air would escape. She said she loves it because her foyer used to be really, really warm right there by the front door. As soon as she got it, it was because the outside air was actually drawing the air out. It was either drawing the cold air out or pushing hot air in.
Oh,
More than likely, it was drawing the cold air out.
Well, and just from a comfort perspective, you can understand that. But I'm guessing from a money perspective, that probably saved her, over the course of a year, a substantial amount.
Absolutely. Savings that's the number one reason we have efficient systems.
So do you guys do that test? I mean, can you, or is that not part of what you do, is testing?
There's formulas I use to, depending on the year of the house, I can go in and do a complete load calc, how many windows are in the house, what kind of insulation is in it, how much they will benefit from, say, the system they have now to a newer system, R22 versus 410A refrigerant, and then really high SEER rated systems. That way I can show them, okay, right now you're paying $5,000 a year for electricity. With this new system, we estimate that you'll pay about $2,500 for electricity. So I've seen payments of electricity go down substantially with the addition of a new system or better insulation, new windows. All those things come into play.
If you are trying to figure out where the money is going and the heat, there are some heat producing appliances. Obviously, every computer it's producing it's a heat source.
Sure.
Maybe not huge, but it might add up, especially
makes
like here,
a big difference
in an office.
offices.
Yeah.
I have an office down on Pine Avenue that it was engineered for these offices to not have a lot of computer equipment. They knew they were going to have like 1 or 2 computers. Well, one of the office has literally like 5 screens because he's a designer.
Oh, wow.
And I could feel the heat coming off the screens from a couple feet away.
Really?
And
oh, my goodness.
they wanted to put in another duct, and I said, well, that'll take away from the main system. Your best bet is to get new screens, newer updated screens that don't put out that much heat. And I believe that's what they did, and it solved their problem.
Oh, wow. So,
but it was literally 5 or 6 degrees warmer in that office.
I'm betting that was the long-range, cheaper avenue, too.
And
right?
we have to actually add supplemental AC because we'll duct AC into, say, the IT room.
Right.
But then we'll actually add usually what's called a mini split system, the real fancy outdoor-indoor units with a head unit. They're ductless, and that way they have essentially 2 systems, and there's so much heat produced in that room that they need the supplemental mini split, as well as if one breaks down, they still have another.
So part of your job, especially when you're dealing with a new client looking for a brand new system, part of your job is to analyze what's going to be cooled and to figure out the best way to do it.
Oh, absolutely. When engineers, when they even go to design a house, they will engineer the system based on the exposure of the house. Is it going to get the morning sun or the afternoon sun? Is the backyard going to be all windows? I'm going to a customer's house after this where she's got a problem with the 3rd-story loft that has no ceiling, and the roof is basically her ceiling. All the ductwork is open. She's having humidity issues, and she talked about adding more AC, and I said, well, that won't necessarily help. I would rather see her add a whole house dehumidifier. It will cost less as well as dehumidify the room, because she has no problem cooling the room. It's when it cools the room almost too fast and doesn't pull all that excessive humidity out of there. 'Cause she's got windows all the way through the back of her house, and she lives right on the lake.
And a dehumidifier seems like it would probably be the smart way to, the cheaper, smarter way to go.
Exactly. Most cases, people don't need them in their homes because air conditioning is already a dehumidifier.
Right.
But in her case, there are case-by-case bases where I think she would definitely benefit from one.
Well, it kind of puts you in the category of doctor. I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of what a doctor has to do. When a doctor sits in that very seat where you're in right now, Brandon, the the questions from the audience so often responded with, well, I don't know your specific situation, but here's the general answer. In other words, they're very careful because, like each situation is individual. The windows, the trees.
I try to interview customers because the bottom line is the customers, they may not know how physically their system works, but they know when it's hot and cold. They have hot spots, cold spots. They know that type of information because they're the ones living there. And I try to get as much of that information as I can. You'd be amazed what kind of problems systems may have that has nothing to do with the system. It may cause a problem in the system, but it's because of the ductwork or an open line somewhere, things of that nature. So it is very important to communicate with customers and ask them, do you have any problems? Do you have any existing problems?
Right.
Especially if you're going to install a new system. If you have existing hot and cold spots and you go install a new system and you don't do any ductwork or to remedy those, you're probably going to have the same hot and cold spots.
Right. Do you know if you're in the bathroom, you're taking a shower, and you do not have that overhead fan on? Okay. It gets like London in there, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's foggy in there. You open up the door. If you never never turn on the ceiling fan, for those that blows it up out of the...
Yeah, the exhaust fan.
Yeah, exhaust, thank you. You open the door, I'm guessing that humidity must permeate the house.
Oh, yeah, eventually, well, the return air naturally pulls that humidity out of the bathroom and goes right up into the main system, where it's eventually filtered out
that's no
and
big deal,
condenses
right?
into humidity.
It
is no big deal, but like you said, when I take a shower in my bathroom, I always have that fan on. That way, I mean, the mirror doesn't get all fogged up.
Right.
In some cases, I even lower my AC a little bit just so it's on.
Yeah.
But I'm hot-natured, so I love it when it's cold.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Well, it's not going to be cold for a while. It looks like we've got 90-degree temperatures all weekend long. It's probably going to go only up from this point forward now that we're past Memorial Day.
Yeah, and hurricane season starts tomorrow.
Oh, that's right.
So, June 1st.
Now, is this a busy time for you?
Oh, absolutely. Summer is definitely the busiest time of year for all HVAC companies.
Now, when you first started doing this show, it was the time of year when you said, call now because in the summer it's going to be busy. And now it is the summer, or it's almost the summer.
Absolutely.
So.
We're starting to get a lot of those calls of no cools, and we try to do with our maintenance agreements, we definitely try to get out there before the peak summertime. That way we know the system is okay for summer. And same as the winter service, we go out there in the fall, October, November, and make sure. Now, not all of our customers, unfortunately, it all just depends on when you sign up for a service agreement. And actually, talking about service agreements, we have created what's called Climate Cash, where they're little vouchers worth $30. And if you call the office and we have an opening slot somewhere in our day, because there's time slots for every call. If there's an opening slot, we will give you one of those $30 Climate Cash cards, and you can use it towards repair if that's what you need, or $30 off a service agreement, which would bring a service agreement down to $139 a year, which is actually pretty good when you consider $30 off.
Yeah, right.
So I definitely encourage as many customers as possible to get their system serviced. Even if you don't get a service agreement, that's okay. We can still come out and get it serviced. It's important to do that.
And typically, does somebody with a service agreement find themselves with air conditioning 365 days a year?
Most of the time, yeah. Now, unfortunately, I'm not God, and I can't prevent every problem from arising. Problems exist. You know, I can go to a house and literally the next day a problem arises. I had one over the weekend that way. I ended up having to replace the lady's entire drain pan because it cracked. I was there the day before.
How did it crack?
I don't know. I really don't know. It was a very, very strange issue, and they are known to crack, but they're known to crack during installation. And all I did was blow out the drain line, and the next day it was pouring water out of it, and it must have just got weak or something, sheer coincidence. So I went there yesterday, or the day before yesterday, and just replaced the entire drain pan under warranty. Being that we were there, I'm not going to try to say, well, it was an existing problem, because it wasn't. So we did the entire drain pan under warranty. We definitely try to work with our customers.
The phone number right now is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline. If you would like to ask Brandon a question, the number is 622-WOCA. Brandon, I feel like we're always asking you about what you do for us. Is there anything that you, on a regular basis, say to your other coworkers, you know what I wish? When we go to a house, I wish they would blank. Would it be like put the dog away, move the furniture out of the way? Are there things that we could do before you get there just to make it easier for you?
Well, moving stuff out of the way. If I need to get into the attic, I need to get into the attic, move your car. Or I went to a call, actually, the car could not be moved. And I couldn't even do the service, at least on the air handler, because I couldn't get into the attic.
What kind of a car doesn't move?
It was a Lincoln, and they had just bought the house, and it was somebody else's car for some reason, and the battery was dead. I don't know, but they couldn't move the car. So definitely, if there's nothing worse than crawling up into an attic when there is an AC unit up there. For one, you got to go in the attic.
Nice.
And then two, when you get into the scuttle, right there at the scuttle, there's mountains of Christmas stuff and stuff they don't use very often because they're not going to store it far deep into the attic because they don't want to go up there as much,
That's right.
just like I don't.
Yeah.
But, so sometimes, I don't mind, though. Slide stuff over, put it back when I'm done. Closets have stuff in them under accesses to the attic, so that's the biggest thing, but it's really not a big deal. Customers, if they have filters, pull them out for me. That way, if they're stored somewhere, that way I can change them. But there's really not much else they can prepare for when we come. I turn on the AC. They can leave it off until I come, but we pretty much do everything.
So there's not a whole lot of conversations like that where you say to the other guys you work with, every time I go to a house, every other time there's a dog.
Dogs can... I definitely love dogs.
Me too.
And dogs are really responsive to that. Customers love when I pay attention to their dogs and say hello. Most of the time, I just need to bend down or stand up and say hello. I have actually carried dog treats in my truck. But some dogs are just... That's the way they are. New person in their house, they nonstop bark.
That's their job.
Yeah, that's their job. And most customers, if they are nonstop barking or they are timid dogs and they're unpredictable, they will put them away while I'm there. I have never been bit by a dog or had serious problems with an animal. And I've seen every type of animal, especially here in Ocala. Horses, everything. So it's definitely not uncommon to run across animals.
Are the paddocks air conditioned? The barns, where the horses are?
No, not necessarily.
Is the word paddock right?
A lot of times in those barns, there might be like an apartment attached to it or a office attached to it. So some part of it, usually where the actual horses are, they may have like mister systems or where they mist water over the horses.
That's from Mr. Ed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Mr. Ed. That's an old show. Haven't seen that in years. But not usually are the horses air conditioned, but I'm sure there's a few out there.
We've spoke about so many different things that our air handlers, our air conditioners do. We did talk slightly about the odors and some of the things. So when you're talking about like a horse barn and an office attached to it, is that just inevitable that there's going to be a smell in there, or does the air handler, air conditioner actually filter out the smell there too?
Air handlers don't do anything for smells.
Nothing, okay.
They only take out the filter. It's depending on... The air handler doesn't necessarily do any of the filtration or take care of smells. That all depends on what type of filtration system you get, and then there's air purification systems, the UV light systems we've talked about, that specialize in smells and germs that would normally pass right through a filter. Got to remember, these germs are so small, they literally pass right through a filter like sand through a tennis racket.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's pretty fast. Sand through a tennis racket. Yeah. This is the time of year that if you've already waited, then you already know. Look, it's already been 90 degrees probably a few days. Right now, does that say 90? No, it's 88 or something like that up there. That thermometer's a little bit off.
Is it?
Plus, we're in the shade, so it doesn't.
Yeah, that makes a big difference.
Yeah, but I mean, right now, this is the time, and signing up for go back to the $30 coupon that you were talking about. How do you qualify for that again?
Any customer can qualify. If you're already a service agreement customer and something breaks down, the only qualification is that you call, and as long as we have an open time slot, I would imagine even if we didn't, we could still give you a $30 coupon. I have a bunch of them in my truck. They're called Climate Cash.
Okay.
And they are also available at True Grits restaurant, where people can just pick them up.
Oh, really?
And if they hand them to me, if they have one, I will certainly take $30 off their bill, because they've obviously gotten a hold of them. I think the only requirement is that you're allowed to use one per visit.
Well,
I wouldn't
fair.
hand me 10 of them and expect
$300
$300 worth of service for
No.
free. Just one per visit. I don't believe there's any kind of expiration date on them, so there is not much fine print on them, whereas you can't use them for this or can't use them for that.
Yeah.
You can use them for anything you want. Any $30 off towards any service, whether it's a maintenance agreement, whether it's a repair, just a one-time yearly service, if you have a special filter that we need to order, anything, additions, accessories, UV lights, anything you want.
Is the are air conditioners 220 or 110?
Most of them are 220. Gas furnaces are usually 110 for gas, because they just need the 110 volts for the blower and the igniter, the pilot system for the gas furnace.
And that's for heat, right?
Yes.
Okay. There's no gas cooler, is there?
No, not that I know. Well, there is, but we don't use them in homes. I mean, essentially, Freon is a gas.
Okay.
But it's not.
Right.
It's not used the same way as propane.
I gotcha.
Actually, they are coming out with some high pressure systems in England and Europe that are used in cars that actually use propane as the refrigerant, and it's a very interesting system. I'm not a big fan of it, only because it's extremely flammable.
Yeah, right.
If you get a leak in your HVAC system in your car, that could be a problem.
That could be a real, and that'll happen.
Yeah, and they're also
that's trouble waiting to happen.
Oh, absolutely. And they're also extremely high pressure systems, to the point where all the hoses have to be remade to handle pressures
Well, it gets
like that.
cold. You know when you go camping and you use those little containers of propane?
Yeah.
And you feel the container itself after you've been cooking. It's
Absolutely.
It's ice cold.
Yeah.
So I guess that's how it works, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
Somehow. I guess you know the science of all of that. And we don't need to know that. It's kind of like starting your car. You just need to know how to start it, right?
That same thing goes back to the customers. They don't need to know how their air conditioning works. They just know that something over here is not right.
Yeah.
Something over there is not right. What can we do to fix it?
Yeah.
That's my job, to determine what's wrong with it and what the best options are for the customer. That's the important thing, is to give the customer options. Sometimes there is just a one-way fix. Other times there's, like the call I'm going on now, we may need to add supplemental AC. But for the meantime, I want to try the dehumidification unit first. If they're happy with that, then there's no need to spend the extra money. But if it's still not cooling down properly, then we'll put in a supplemental AC system for the house.
And, and plus one of the things that the dehumidifier would help with is mold.
Oh, absolutely.
Or the prevention of mold, I should say.
Absolutely. Anything above like 65% humidity, and you start running the risk of getting mold.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important for customers that do leave. The seasonal customers that go up north during the summer, they get dehumidistats. That way they can control their system by humidity rather than temperature, and it will save them a lot of money, because their system will only turn on, say, at 65% humidity. It may be 85 degrees in their house, but the humidity is low, and that's what causes the mold and mildew.
Right. And I mentioned to you, I asked you about things we can do for you to make it easier for you. One of the big messages that you have today, it sounds like, is the maintenance agreement. Are there maintenance things we can do, like pouring, was it vinegar down one of the lines or something?
Yeah,
like that?
if you do have an access to the drain line, you can pour bleach, vinegar, warm water, alcohol even, just to keep the algae growth down. Anything that would kill algae, keep that algae growth down. If you are sensitive to chemicals, you can use just hot water or lemon juice, hot lemonade.
Oh, really?
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't use like the store-bought, but just add some lemon juice, a little bit of lemon juice to water and heat it up. and pour it down it. The biggest thing, if you don't have a maintenance agreement with us, and even if you do, is changing your filters.
Get the maintenance agreement. $139 or $169 normally.
$169 normally. With the Climate Cash, they're $139.
So
and that covers an entire year. There's never any overtime charges, whether it's holidays, nights, weekends, anytime.
Wow.
And we usually give you 4 filters a year if they're 1-inch filters. And you also get 15% off any parts or components. And you don't have to pay diagnostic fees unless it's an act of God. If I come there and there's a lightning bolt strike through your unit, then we may have to charge you a diagnostic. But in most cases, if your system breaks down, I don't charge a diagnostic.
Oh, wow.
That's a savings of anywhere from $75 to $112.
You're not kidding. That's a good
depending
one.
on overtime.
Yeah. Brandon, what is the phone number at Climate Control?
291-0185.
Okay, and call us here if you need that repeated. Brandon Wood from Climate Control Mechanical Services, thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you, Larry.
Went too fast. We'll take a little break and we will be right back.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala.
ABC News Now. I'm Karen Chase. A deadly outbreak in the Middle East is causing growing global concern. A respiratory virus similar to SARS called MERS has so far killed 30 people, about half those who've contracted it. Scientists say there's no known cause, cure, or vaccine, and no way to stop it from spreading. The job market is tightening up again. The number of first-time filers for unemployment benefits jumped 10,000 last week, apparently newly laid-off workers. The postmark reads Shreveport, Louisiana, on rice-and-laced letters sent to New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg and his gun control group in D.C. FBI officials are investigating it as an act of terror. The Jay Giles Band and Jimmy Buffett are among the performers at today's TD Garden concert to benefit Boston Marathon bombing victims. Proceeds go to the Boston One Fund. The latest decadent delight from the fast food industry is being cooked up at Wendy's, the pretzel bacon cheeseburger. Industry analysts who've tasted it think it'll be the biggest product launch in 20 years and could trigger a 3% boost in sales. This is ABC News.